Hey everybody, how you doing? I am so excited to be on today. We have a great vibe here. It's really fun. We kind of came up, I was with Lori yesterday. She's so sweet. She came over and gave me a birthday gift that was just so sweet, and it was handmade and it's on my table and it's just gorgeous. And I go, we should talk about this stuff. We should talk about Lori's workshop because Lori has a workshop at her house. She has such passion for creating. Her whole background that she did with floral, she has taken it to a next level, but she's done a lot of these crafts with her grandchildren, and she's done a lot of them to give gifts. And she takes different craft ideas and then she customizes them per each holiday. Okay. So she's going to share with us it's not too late to do these things. It's not too late to get it together. Today is really, guys, today we have a whole solid week before Christmas Eve and then Christmas Day. And there's one of the biggest stores that we go to is the dollar store. And her inspo is from a lot of stuff that you can find around the house and at the dollar store. So with that, I'm going to say, Lori, take it away. I'm excited to see all of your stuff on your table there.
Debbie, I just love this time of year. And now that I have grandchildren that, are at the age that they want to learn how to do stuff, I spent the whole weekend last weekend. It was craft weekend with Nona, because they call me Nona. We had so much fun. I wish I could put my picture on there, but I will. Well, post the picture of the stuff that we did. It was just great. First, I want to talk about what I did, some of the tricks of the trade. Okay. I was a florist and stuff is really expensive. I mean, you go to Michael's and get the sales and stuff, and you can get stuff on Amazon and that. But the best place to look, first of all, look what you have from last year. Look what you want to throw away that you can't stand. Okay. Take those things like an old Christmas tree. Do not throw out an old Christmas tree. You don't know how precious that is. You could cut the pieces off, and I'll show you what I did with them. Or you could take like a whole row, okay, not a row, but a whole strand of the greens, and you could make it into a swag. And if the tree is bendable, you could even bend it and make a wreath out of it. So there's a lot you could do. It don't throw it out. What I do every year is I go to Goodwill or Salvation Army, and I go look for old Christmas trees and I look for old wreaths. And you should see the stuff that I found this year. It was great. So I was able to make a lot of stuff. Let me go through real quick what I did so you could see. Mind you, I'm on my phone. I'm waiting for my laptop to get back. So I'm going to go briefly. This is my favorite here. Did you see it good, Deb?
You see it?
Okay, that is a Christmas tree made of all candy. And all you have to do, people have to do is just pull it right off and the candy will come down. This is my favorite. What I did is I bought styrofoam cones from Amazon and I glued it just on a tray. And I started on the bottom, went all the way around, and then I went on a different layer. You just go all the way around. But I made this with these things they're called green pins. They're big in the floral industry. They sell them over at Michael's. But I did one with my grandkids. I used a low temperature glue gun and just glued a little piece on it. It worked so much better and so much faster. And my grandkids were able to take the candy off. I'll put that in the post. This is another one of my favorites. Could you see it, Deb?
I love it. Yes.
This is made on a can, an old soup can, a bean can, or whatever you want to do. This is a little higher. This one's a little small. It's about the same size. What I did is I took pine, painted it green, and then I took pine cones and I glued them all the way around. See? And then what I did on top is I took some of that greenery that I was telling you about and I just stuffed it in there and glued it. Now, my favorite thing is holly, and I had to end up getting it at Amazon this year because the dollar store ran out, and some berries and some ornaments. And then on top, I glued, actually, I got this at the dollar store. It's just a candle thing. I have to put a candle in there yet. But isn't that a great gift for somebody? I
Beautiful.
don't know who I'm giving it to yet. I made all these things, but I haven't decided. I made about five of those. This is another one. This, took a little work, but could you see it, Deb?
Yep, I love it.
That is a pine cone tree, and it's also done on a styrofoam cone. I took an old container that I had, and I hot glued it on there, and then I put some of that, like that, any kind of real strong glue. I can't think of the name right now, but not like we have to do more than glue gun because glue gun pops in the cold. And then I did the same thing. I did the same thing with the pine cones. I glued them all on. And then afterwards, I went in and added some more. And then I had these berries and I glued them in there. And then I got it from the dollar store, the strand of lights. There was actually two in there. And then just glued some presents on there and just made a bow on top. Isn't that a great? Oh, I just knocked the pine cone off. I feel like Ray Rayner, if anybody knows who Ray Rayner is. But see how pretty that is? That's really, really nice. Okay. Now, this is another thing. I'm sorry, I have dropped stuff. All right. Does anybody know what that is? That's a coffee creamer container. Real
Yep.
big these days. Now, I actually saw this on Pinterest, and that's where I got the idea. I took the container that was empty and I painted it white. I painted it white about three times. It does, and it's acrylic paint, so I probably need to put another coat on, but gets covered, so it's okay. But what we do is see how this looks like a hat on top. Then what you do is you draw eyes on there with paint marker,
Hmm.
and you could either use a paint marker and make a nose, a carrot nose going sideways, or you could get a little piece of cardboard or something and cut it out like a carrot and put it there, paint it orange, and then just do the mouth, and then put like three buttons, which I had. But this is another cool idea. All right. We have ugly sweaters from years past that we don't know what to do with them. I had plenty of them. So what I did is, I don't know if you could see it. Um, what I did is I took an old Christmas sweater, and what I did is I cut it and I made a scarf. I cut it to the size for a scarf and I glued the scarf on. But if you go and you Google it or go on Pinterest and say coffee creamer snowman, you'll see all the stuff you can do with that. But that's a real cool. Okay, my last one and my favorite is I was at a store because I go shopping and I go to this discount store. I found these lamps that looked like a snowman.
Hmm.
And I said to my boyfriend, I said, "Oh my gosh, I could make a snowman out of that." So I took it home and you use a USB cord and the settings are on the back. You could do three different levels. And I painted the nose. I did the nose. See how I did the nose? I just took something and made it look like a carrot. Did the eyes. I did the paint for the mouth. This is cool. I got, those things that they sell for kids that they could wear as a headband. Well, I found this hat and I was able to cut it and fit it on there. And then I got a wreath I got um from Goodwill, and I just decorated it with stuff I had, pine cones and berries and stuff. And I found these ornaments at the dollar store. Oh, here's one of those scarves with my shirt. Isn't that cool?
It's so cute.
So that's my tips, but I'll show you a couple more things that you need to get. First of all, you need a good hot glue gun. There's also the low temperature ones for kids. Use that for some stuff because of the fact of burning, because you're doing some detail work. And I use the stuff called tacky spray. And you could take and spray it and then roll it your stuff in glitter. So, and we use a lot of glitter and we use a lot of that fake snow and sprinkle it on there. So, Debbie, those are my tips for today. And anybody's that able to reach out to me. One last comment: be creative. Look at stuff around you. When you go shopping, go to garage sales, and you see something, think about what you're going to do. I don't have it here. I should have brought it. I'm sorry. But I will tell you, I got a sled, one of those big sleds at Goodwill, but it was broken. It was a piece missing off of it. And I took it and I put I did greens and stuff in a bowl where the thing was, and put some of the fake snow on it. It came out absolutely gorgeous. And I paid $3.99 for this slide. So, and you know what? I'm giving these gifts to friends at church. I'm giving these things to people that do things for me. I love making things for people because I think it's more personable and stuff. So, Debbie, with that, I will be quiet because I
No,
could go
that's
on
okay.
and on and on.
No, you know what? I love all these ideas. I don't know if you noticed, I should have pointed it out yesterday. The sled that's by my door was the sled that my brother and
Yeah,
I were
yeah,
little. I put some stuff on there, not like as pretty as you have, but I did put a little greenery. But I did this thing out by my door.
yeah.
Okay, so when it got really cold really fast, I had my pots outside and I pulled them into my garage. Okay, and so I took like the rest of the flowers and stuff that were in there and kind of just leveled out the dirt and made sure that the dirt defrosted. But I went to the dollar store and I bought, because I saw some beautiful things that were made, but I'm like, I am not spending 40,
Right.
$60 on these things. So I went to the dollar store. I hope my picture turned out okay that I could show it. I think, oh yeah, it did. Hopefully can you guys see that that's my
Oh,
little,
yeah,
I
yeah,
made
yeah,
two of
yeah.
these. So what I did was is I got the poinsettias at the dollar store and put them in there, but the middle Christmas is an actual Christmas tree that stands like on a table, okay? And it's like got a little thing to it. So I shoved that down into the dirt. Well, now it's frozen. And then they had a lot of these things, which I call sprigs, but just things like this that shoot up that had like bling on them and things like that. You could buy the plain ones. You could glue the pine cones. Pine cones, you got to think during the year when you see this stuff, like you said at Goodwill, the greenery, the wreath. If you see a wreath, a plain wreath, it's no big deal. You think of what you could create it into, and make it.
Right,
And
right.
so I know my mom used to take those mini little Christmas trees and she used to glue little bows or little like things on there. I have some of them that are over in my little village that I have that I still have, which is really cute. And if you do any of the decorations around your house, anything that you can repurpose. I had a wreath. I didn't even tell Lori this, but I had a wreath that some of the bulbs ornaments broke off of it. And I found some other randoms that I had that came from somewhere else. I glued them on the wreath and, just put it up and stuff. And, these are the things that you got to think about. Because if you think, oh, I'm going to go out and buy a wreath, 40, 50, 60, I mean, it's ridiculous, So, but I also wanted to talk about the fact that Lori brought these crafts to her grandkids. And this is the time you guys got to do your traditions. Okay. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some fun little traditions. And we have one that we do, we make sausage bread. So, we're going to be doing sausage bread Friday night, which is really fun. And we do that every year. We make it and then have it to eat it over the holidays. But I think that a lot of times we're thinking about the anxiety of getting everybody together, getting prepared, hosting, have everyone over, and all of a sudden everybody just kind of sits down and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, we're here." And they eat and then all of a sudden somebody puts the TV on and then before you know it, everybody's just staring at the TV. So I've talked to probably 10 people this week that we're all doing the same thing. I know Lori's doing it. We're getting back into playing games. Okay.
Mhm. Right. I'm
All kinds
excited.
of games. And so when Laura stopped over yesterday, I showed her a game that my daughter Vanessa got, and I'm telling you, we played it twice already, and I played it with Lori and Gary for a few minutes, and it was so much fun. But this one's called Hipster, and it's got to do with like recognizing songs and when they came from, and when they were actually released, and what the timeline is. And you create a timeline with your cards, and that's all I'm really gonna say. I'm gonna say it's a very, I don't even know how much it runs, Lori. Is it like 20 bucks maybe?
Uh,
Like
I think
a
the
game?
one I got was 16.95.
Hmm.
So, and the one that Debbie had, I couldn't get it till like the 23rd or the 29th, and I didn't want to take a chance. So I got another version of it. So
Okay.
I'm hoping, but I think there's a video on there. And I think if you go to YouTube,
Yeah.
they'll show you how to play it. Oh, there's so much on YouTube and TikTok about these Christmas games.
Totally, totally. And I've got one. I should have thought to bring it out. I forgot, but it's this. You can find these things anywhere, but I got this game where you have to put this concoction of like it looks like these ears, and then you
Yeah,
do a toss, like it's a toss on a reindeer.
yeah,
I mean, these are the things that people go, "Oh, this is so silly," but no, it's not. Everybody has a fun time. They laugh.
right, right,
And they think
right.
about, remember what we did at Christmas, you know. I also want to talk about if you do have traditions with cookies of baking, like I was talking about the doing, the sausage bread. I'm not sure, based on the way the holiday is, based on my schedule, how much baking I'm going to get done. But I did say to my family, if there's something you really want, we'll make sure we get it done. And I think it's really great if you can take the time out and actually do some baking together. It's always fun to see what all those different cookies are that everybody loves around the holidays. But we are trying to tone it back a little bit too because we don't want them around. We want them for the holiday, but then we don't want them after because we're like we don't want to eat them again and again. But so that is one thing. And then I just think being very mindful, like Lori and I have talked about how fun we like to sing and dance and be goofy. Everybody's just about everybody has an Alexa. And so we use our Alexa like a karaoke, and get her with the words on there and try to do those kind of things too. But I think my biggest point right now is we've got a lot of time still left. And if you're kind of like, okay, I don't know what to make my neighbor, I don't know what to give my so and so, Lori just came up with a bajillion things right now. Look at the stuff you have around your house that you can paint, like the coffee can. I mean,
Yeah,
bomb the coffee can because it's flat. You put the
yeah,
candle or put the figure or whatever you put on top of it, and then you use that to be your base to do stuff. I mean, there's just easy things. The coffee creamer. I mean, I knew
yeah,
right away when you had it there, I'm like, oh, that's a coffee creamer because I have
yeah,
several,
right.
you know?
Yeah, I just want to say, go on Pinterest. If you find something in your house that you think you might use,
Yeah,
right, just say, okay, I found, whatever it is. And Pinterest will give you a crafts that go with that thing.
right.
And you probably could even go on YouTube and find once you find out what the craft is, you go on YouTube. I'm sure you could find it. We are at an age now. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting for me because we're at an age where we can learn everything. I mean, as I look at the stuff that they show and they show people how to make flower arrangements and everything, I'm like, wow, that's really great for people because people like to do that kind of stuff. But I'm going to make one comment, Debbie. I trying to get to when I'm doing going to Gary's niece's house and they have kids. I think the whole cookie thing. I'm going to bring sugar cookies that are not frosted,
Hmm.
and I'm going to set up a table. And I'm going to have. I do this thing. I make. We talked about it before. I make a paint out of. It's a cookie paint out of powdered sugar, a little bit of water, a little bit of food coloring, and I get like paint brushes from the dollar store, and I wash them and everything. The kids paint brushes, and then the kids paint them. And if you go on YouTube, I'll actually put that on my page too. I actually found it on TikTok. They had these kids painting it, and I thought to myself, how great that is. They could sit there and paint them, and then they could eat them because
Yeah.
it doesn't take long for those to dry. And it's so much fun, and those kids are going to remember that. I started painting cookies with my son Tony when he was 2, and he's 38 now. I'm doing it with his kids.
You know what? It is bomb. And I'll tell you, the only word of caution, just make sure that you really follow directions and you don't overdo it because you don't need a lot of liquid with that powdered sugar.
Yeah, oh yeah, and very
Yeah.
like drops.
Uh-huh.
But again, this I was able to find this on YouTube because I'm like, I've been doing this so long, I don't even know where I got the idea, but probably, something I read years ago. But um, so now it's on Pinterest and it's on YouTube. So you could see all these things. Oh my gosh, you guys could have so much fun. And you could just, like I said, start a tradition with your family.
That's right. I love it. I love it. And I think it's just, you know what, again, it's not too late to get this stuff done and find places. And like Lori said, Goodwill, man, I'm telling you,
Oh,
you find
yeah.
You find, and I am never going to throw out branches of stuff anymore. I do know some people that take branches from outside from their own evergreens and do, but it's a little risky because you don't want to stunt the growth of the if you're not cutting the evergreen.
Yeah, right,
But,
right, right.
knowing that you have things, I will definitely be thinking more about that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, I got some wreaths for 3.99. I
That's
got
awesome.
a tree for 19.99 and I'm still using it.
Right.
So, and I'll save what I don't use for next year. But I just love it. I have so much fun with it. I look at stuff in my house and stuff and I think, oh, I could do this, and this.
Right.
But, and you don't have to have a creative mind. Go to Pinterest.
Oh,
You
totally.
just,
Or go to Chat GPT, like the thing I do too, and you put in something, and I'm telling you
oh,
that there's so much information that comes down fast, and you think, why didn't I think about that?
I have never been on that. What is it called?
It's an app that you actually have. Let me see if I can pull it up. You have to download it, and it looks like
Okay.
this. Hopefully, I can get it.
I'm going to do it since we get off. That'll be
Yeah.
interesting.
Chat, G as in George, P as in Peter, T as in Tom, GPT. Now I have the free version, and I don't know if you could see it on my thing, but see where it says chat next between Southwest and I think comment it says Chat GPT.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's nice because I have the free one. You don't need to pay for the other one. The only reason you get the other one is if you're going to excessively use it. But I've even asked it medical questions, I've asked it silly questions, I've asked it all kinds of stuff, and it's been really wonderful because you get quick answers. It's like having a Siri or your Alexa or your Google, but it's just a little different. So
I love it. I love our information age.
I know, me too.
Kind
But
of worry about AI, but I like our information age.
absolutely.
So,
Well, with that, Laura, I think what we should say, I don't know if you're going to be see us before we won't see us probably before Christmas, but you'll see us after
yeah.
Christmas. So we want to wish each and every one of you a fantastic Christmas. Make sure you do the things with your family that you want to do. Enjoy the holidays, watch those holiday movies, and enjoy all the great traditions. And with that, Laura, I'm going to turn it to you to close us.
Okay, sounds great, Debbie. I couldn't have said it any better. Again, Merry Christmas, and we'll see you after the holidays. With that, I'm going to say I'm Lori,
I'm Debbie.
and we're friends helping friends. We'll see you after the holiday. God bless. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Take care, guys.